they see growth in the automotive business of 20 to 30% next year. Really interesting. What did you make of that? And does your research and math support it?
Well, that indicates that they have a high volume model coming. I mean, in this market right now, I don't think any other car company is projecting that type of growth. So they have high expectations for this lower cost electric vehicle, whether it's the 3 or the Y, that's low cost. But yeah, that does not track with where the auto industry is heading. So of course, with Elon Musk, his promises, you never know exactly what that timeline is and if they'll actually hit those markers. But I mean, I think those sales growth projections have to indicate an incremental volume model for Tesla.
So if the math doesn't seem to quite add up for what they need to achieve this quarter that we're in, point us forward to next year as well, when we see a play of catch up, and ultimately what price point they have to come in at for that up to 30% growth. Where is the demand from your perspective?
Yeah. So the interesting thing about his comments is the way he describes the car market, and he's done this on past calls. It feels like he assumes that everybody out there is a very pragmatic buyer. He says things like, if we hit the right price, then the demand is infinite, something like that. He's talked about people are looking at cost per mile, and that's not the way people, especially in the United States, buy cars. I mean, if that was the case, we would not have luxury brands. We would not have large SUVs, sports cars. So, in terms of that actual volume, if there was a, $25,000 EV, would everyone still want that, especially if it looked very much like what exists today? I think that is probably the biggest question I have for them really next year, because people like to see new things. They don't like to see the same old thing that they've seen, but now just cheaper. If you want that, you can probably go get a used one. I mean, it's not new, but, it's in that price range.
If you're just joining us on Bloomberg Technology, Tesla shares are up almost 19%, while the S&P 500 is down a little bit, 0.1%. Here's a fun stat for everyone. The previous biggest gain Tesla's ever posted on a day where the S&P 500 was down was 7.5%. That's the state of play now, and we're up 19%. And Jessica, a big part of it is this autonomous future. How much have you looked into FSD, and how much do you think it resonates with the consumer at large right now?
I don't think it's for everybody at this point in time. I think people like the idea of a vehicle driving itself. I mean, who wouldn't? Who doesn't want that time back? But we're talking about the next few years. And are people really ready for it? I think you're going to have a group of people that they like it. But I think you're going to have a lot of opposition as well. People that feel like they're on the roads being subjected to these vehicles that they didn't ask for. So I think getting the public ready is a really big hurdle that we're not really talking about. We're talking about the technology and the regulatory and all of that. I mean, that has to be solved. But also, these are going to be in our streets. And I think there's going to be a lot of concern out there if we don't start talking about how this all works.
Okay, and regulation is actually something that Musk himself was talking about potentially being able to push forward if he does indeed get a role in the next administration. A lot of ifs within that, Jessica. Just go back to the facts of this quarter we're currently in. Do you believe that the targets outlined on the call will be made for this current quarter, let alone the 30% being looked out for next year?
I mean, it seems likely. It seems like this quarter will probably see some sort of increase in sales overall. We know that we've had a Fed cut, so interest rates are a little bit easier. And then also Tesla has been pretty aggressive with their incentives. So the fact that they are offering good deals out there is helpful. And then also when you just think about new vehicles in general, I mean, a new EV lease is the best deal. So I think that is working in their favor, but it's not necessarily going to make these massive sales jumps that they're anticipating next year.
Jessica, Tesla wants to change the relationship of an individual with cars. I have a Tesla Model Y. I believe Caro also has a Tesla. We both use FSD. But in the future that Tesla sees, we don't necessarily own our own cars. And if we do, we submit them to a fleet when we're not using them, in the same way we might put homes on Airbnb. You cover this industry. How are you going to cover it going forward?
I mean, yeah, that's a big question. Like, in terms of personal ownership, do we own these vehicles? Because I do think that there are a group of people that they want their own vehicles. They're not going to fleet it out. They don't want their vehicle coming back in whatever state that it's going to come out in 10 hours when they need to use it again. But there are people that will use this. And I think that this is going to be a real income differentiator of people that have their own vehicles and people that can get around and they're not having to worry about a monthly payment or insurance, which has gone up so much recently, just in the past year alone, and everything that is associated with car ownership. So it's definitely going to change, but I feel like it's going to be a bit slower than I feel like what we're promised. I mean, right now we're promised all these hopes and dreams that are happening in the next 5 minutes, but I think the rollout is definitely more conservative than that in reality.